We're going to take a look at an example of finding the surface area of a 3D composite shape and using multiple formulas in order to do that. So what we have here is we have a rectangular prism and we have a cylinder. Now, I would recommend give this one a shot, try it out, see if you come up with an answer for the surface area of this 3D shape, and then you can always start the video again when we come back and see did you get the correct answer. Or did you get the same answer that I did, which I hope is the correct answer, as I've done this one a few times and it's always worked out so far. So let's try to solve for this one. When I'm going to solve for it, I'm going to break this down into a couple different pieces. There's multiple ways to solve for it. There's multiple ways to look at it. I'm going to go through what I consider to be the most basic of methods. And then if you have a different way of doing it, that's awesome as well. Or maybe you'll start to see patterns and how to simplify this a little bit quicker. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the final answer. Okay, our final answer is 953.06 square feet. Now, how do we come up with that? Maybe you already came up with that. That's awesome. And if you've got that, you've probably got a bit of a handle on how to do these kinds of questions. And this is just good practice for you. I'm going to start with the cylinder. Okay, so the top shape that we have is a cylinder which has a radius of 4 feet and a height of 8 feet. I'm going to use my surface area formula for a cylinder, which is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. So the 2 pi r squared represents our top and bottom, and then 2 pi rh represents the outside or the lateral area of our cylinder. Now, we have a radius of 4 and a height of 8, so we plug those values into this question. We come up with a surface area of 301.59 square feet. All right, that's just for a general cylinder. Now, some of you are like, wait a minute, we can't see the bottom of the cylinder. Yeah, you betcha. And if you recognize that and you're able to calculate it right away, perfect. If not, that's fine. I'm going to go through how we calculate that in just a little bit. Next thing I'm going to look at is the rectangular prism. Now, the rectangular prism is that bottom piece. It has a length, width, and height of 14, 8, and 12. So our formula right here that I have on my formula page, or you might have seen in the past, depending on where you got that information, is 2 times length times width plus 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height. Now, the length, width, and height are interchangeable. We have 3 dimensions of our rectangular prism. So there's 3 measurements. Sometimes they might be the same if we have a square in there. And so we just have to choose those 3 measurements and which one's going to be the length, width, and height. Again, interchangeable. It doesn't matter which you choose to be each one. Just each one has to have a designation. Plug them into the equation. It's even too long. It's on a couple lines here. And I got a surface area of 752 square feet for the rectangular prism. Now, the rectangular prism and the cylinder are attached to each other on that circular side. So on the base side, the two are combined together, which means that we cannot see that side of the cylinder, nor can we see that circle area on the rectangular prism. What it means is that we need to subtract some piece off of the cylinder and subtract that same size piece off of the rectangular prism. Now, again, if you have done the subtraction before already, don't do it again. I'm just showing it because I have not done the subtraction piece. So I am going to subtract a circle, and I'm going to subtract 1 circle from the cylinder, and I'm going to subtract 1 circle from the rectangular prism, but I'm just going to do it all in one step. So the circle, pi r squared, there are 2 of them that are being subtracted, 1 from the cylinder, 1 from the rectangular prism, which means that I'm going to multiply by 2, use the 4 feet for the radius of the circle as we did before, and we're going to subtract an area of 100.53 square feet. All right, now we have all of the values that we need. To find our total surface area, we need to combine all of our values. First of all, I'm going to take the cylinder and I'm going to plug that into my equation. I'm going to take the rectangular prism. I'm going to add that because we are adding that rectangular prism. And then we're going to take the circle and we're going to subtract that from the whole thing because that part of the those 2 shapes is not seen, and we're going to subtract that off. Now, when you do these calculations, you should get an answer of 953.06 square feet. Did you? If you didn't, that is okay. If you were close, it might be because of the pi function button that you used. I used the pi button on the calculator, which gives me as big a value of pi as a calculator can. If you decide you want to use 3.14 or some other variation of the pi value, you might get a slightly different answer, usually a little bit smaller, and that is totally fine as well.